Yeah.
Okay. So we've got our intro.
Shake it out.
Hi.
Hello.
We'll never have an intro. This is our intro. Okay. So today we are very, very excited to talk to you about adult toys.
Sex toys.
Because, you know, we're
Yes.
sort of new to the YouTube world of posting, and apparently YouTube algorithm doesn't enjoy the word sex.
Exy time.
Sexy time. We would love it if you guys would help us come up with something
That would
so
be
that way
nice.
we don't have to work as hard. For now, I guess we're just going to call them
Good lovin'. Let's just call it good lovin'.
some good
Some
loving
good
toys.
lovin' toys.
We're going to walk into the wild and wacky world of
Good lovin'.
good loving toys,
Good lovin'
aka
toys.
adult toys.
Yes.
So it's pretty interesting. So in preparation for this episode, I went down a rabbit hole, and did you know that one of the first good time toys was found to be about 2,000 years ago, and they found it in England, and it was a phallic shaped, and like very clearly, like nobody could debate that this was intentionally created to look like this, okay? It clearly is what is supposed to be. And it was, it's about 2,000 years old, and it was found in England,
Of course
and it's
it
made
was
of wood.
found in England.
So now,
And so that was 2,000 years
2,000 years ago,
Okay,
and
cool.
here we are today dealing with like AI. I don't know, can I say sex robots? I'm gonna say sex robots and pray the algorithm doesn't beat me up for it, okay? Don't bully me, algorithm. But like, now we have to like, what we're looking at ahead of us is like AI sex robots. So we went from like wooden shaped dongs to like borderline sentient AI sex robots.
So how do you feel about the sex robots? Like it coming into, because what we know, and you know the stats with men,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of that stuff. What do you think that's going to look like, or how do you feel about that?
Well, in Japan,
Yes.
okay, they're way more advanced with us when it comes to sex tech.
Yeah.
And it's really freaking bleak there, dude. It's really freaking bleak when it comes to how many men have had sex under the age of 30. Atrocious. How many people want to be in relationships but aren't in relationships. How many men are still living with their family members. And I know there's like socioeconomic things that come into play there. But I think when we're talking about like intimacy, like that's complicated.
Yeah.
That's complicated. I can't even imagine what that's, I don't think we fully understand yet what that's going to look like and what that's going to do to us. Like just knowing what online pornography has done. Yeah. I mean, I think that when we all look at like AI, with like a small percentage of people feel really optimistic about it, like super, super small.
That's
But I think we all sort of feel a little bit pessimistic about like what the future of AI and robotics is going to bring. But hopefully we find a way to integrate it safely.
As we always do.
But could you imagine? It's like, okay, you start going out with a guy and he's like, okay, are you into like toys? Are you into like
Some
kind of
robot
and
comes
then
out.
some robot comes out. How can I service you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
For me, the one beneficial thing I do see about this,
Yeah.
right? Like if I'm going to open the
Yeah.
blinders
Yeah.
fully, okay?
Yeah.
It is people that don't have any kind of knowing to be with a woman.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be a good start point for them to, I don't know, to
Like practice intimacy.
maybe, right?
It's interesting though that you said
Right?
women, because it is funny how all of us, our minds, I'm sure
Go
you guys
straight
are all
to
thinking,
guys.
yeah, because also could you
Right.
could you imagine how potentially dangerous a man sex robot could be?
Oh.
That would be scary. It goes like full, what's that movie? I, Robot or whatever with Will Smith. It goes
Imagine
full I, Robot, becomes like a rapist robot. I It's like you're scared of the AI robot in your house. I don't know. I'm thinking of very futuristic sci-fi movies you can
I'm
make
looking
out of
at some
this.
attentive lover robots here that are like, let me worship you, goddess. Yes,
But in like a robot voice. Let me worship you, goddess.
What if you can pick your voice? What if you can pick everything?
Did you know? Okay,
Maybe
so
this sounds
there's
kind of
AI
good.
voices. Like I'm obsessed with the AI Drake album. Okay, could you imagine? Because you love Tupac, you
Yeah.
get like a Tupac voice in your robot.
I could. Oh my god, I could even get the robot to look like him. Oh my,
Yes.
all my dreams
Crystal
are coming
sold.
true.
Crystal sold. AI sex robots. AI.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw out some really interesting facts for everybody
Please,
because
which we know we love. Dun
Yes.
dun dun. Chris's facts.
I need my own theme song. All
You
right.
do.
So again, when I went down this rabbit hole, I found a lot of interesting stats. Some were appalling and shocking, and others were fun and interesting. But for example, again, Canada, can I find any stats on sexuality in Canada? Guess what?
No.
I can't. I can't.
She can't.
It's
Do you know how
frustrating.
angry this is making her? Canada?
I'm so frustrated.
You know what? You're going to be on her list of hates soon.
It's true. It's true.
Cinnamon,
So,
dogs.
Canadian statistics or lack thereof. 78%
Okay.
of adults over the age of 18
Okay.
in North America own some kind of adult toy. That's pretty interesting.
Okay.
78%.
That's high.
Yeah. So if
That's-
you think about being in a room with like 10 people, like 8 of those people own an adult toy. The stats that I was looking at went from 2017. Okay. So from 2017 to now, quick math, what's that, 5 years-ish?
Yeah.
So every year, the adult toy industry is growing 13% each year. That is so wild.
Even through COVID.
COVID.
I bet you.
COVID. Are you ready for this stat?
Ramped it up.
So over COVID and over lockdowns, guess what a massive increase in popularity, one specific type of toy got? Anal. Anal adult toys through the pandemic skyrocketed in sales. What does that mean? Not sure. It's not our scene.
Her and I.
It's not our scene. That's a one-way street.
No go.
No judgment.
No judgment.
No judgment. In
Actually,
fact,
we're not judging
No.
on this one.
definitely
we're
not actually not judging. But
Yeah.
for me personally,
Yeah,
that's
same
a
with me.
one-way street, baby.
I don't mind a tickle. I don't mind even a little.
Yeah.
A little.
Right?
Oh, bum play over COVID, everybody.
Right?
My goodness, you filthy.
Freaky freaks.
Filthy.
Yeah,
Ugh.
we just talk about
I
it. You
like
guys
it.
are the ones that do it. And we're seen as being weird. So those are some interesting facts that I'm just going to throw out there as kind of like teasers, as kind of openers. And then, I mean, there's so many different ways that we can go into talking about this. And there are tons and tons and tons and tons of benefits. Again, there's so many different ways of looking at it. But for me personally, I actually just think they're so fun and so hilarious. Pretty much everything I own, I just have it. Like these are mine and they're still knotted up. It's like I just have them to own them.
Okay.
Like collectibles almost.
Okay.
I know that's weird, but like I think look at this item. It's so stupid. I just want to own it. So for me personally, I love them because I think they're so fun.
Yeah.
I love just, I know like a lot of people love to watch pornography to get into the mood and stuff, but honestly, going to a sex shop is so fun. It puts you in a mood, but it's also so silly and over the top.
It's a great date.
It's a great date.
great date.
I so agree.
Amazing. So fun and silly. You get to be jokey, and then you
Yes.
can like if you both see something and you kind of like, what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah,
And then you go out for dinner after, and you both know you have this little bag to like. You get like your like a little bit like
I totally
at dinner
agree. It's always a black
time.
plastic bag too.
yeah.
You ever
a
notice
black-
they're always like, here's your black plastic sex bag. Okay, so more benefits, obviously, is like sexual exploration,
Yes.
Yes. Like, hence that people being locked down, not knowing what to do with themselves. So they're like, well, I'm just going to stick things in my anus, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see how this feels. I like it.
So yeah, there's a lot of ability to like do sexual exploration beyond stuff that you put inside you, like ropes, handcuffs, tickly feathers, blindfolds, edible wax, like being chained to the bed,
restraints.
like there's so many things. And
essences as well. Like for me, part of my sex toys would be oils on here.
Yes.
Right. Oils and candles. Like that's part of that.
I totally agree.
To me, that's part of my sex toy.
So I don't know if this is going to make it into the editing, but me and Crystal for Christmas, we spent Christmas together, and we had this like whole big like elaborate gingerbread house scheme, and it ended up bombing for our children, but you did a good job.
Yeah.
Your group did. Yeah. And we went to like a baking store, and they ended up having, we're such perverts. They had like glitter, like edible glitter for cookies and stuff. And it's so funny. Her and I were like putting it all in the cart. We're like, oh my God, every color. Because we were like, oh my God, we can put it all over us and then someone can lick it off of us. We're saying this in like the baking store. Like that's immediately where our minds went. We were like, oh my God. And then you freaking opened it.
And
when
then
did
it
you
was
open it
all over her kitchen.
Oh, bro.
Glitters everywhere.
Nobody was licking shit off anything. I was just scrubbing things off, cursing her. So yeah, like do you have positive experiences with these?
Of course I do, and with my clients. But yes, and with my clients definitely, because if there's been a woman that's never had an orgasm before, right? Woo. Which there are plenty of you out there. I do know that. That's something that's not hard for me. I can multiple. But this beautiful gift that my co-host and her husband,
he picked it out.
James, he's a thinker. God. This guy
is a thinker.
But so these wands are really good for even the smaller ones, like these little tiny ones are really good starters for women. Yeah. Maybe not this one, something a little bit more gentle. Yeah. Are really good for women that are just new to exploring their yoni. Okay. Something small that's not too timid, because if you give your client this, they're like, oh my God. So when you're giving them this bad boy, a little tiny little rocket finger thing. Yeah. That's a little bit more, they're like, and then I tell them massage inside your leg first. Don't go straight to the clitoris. Stimulate the outside of your body first. Yeah. And I teach them, of course, the Kegels and all of that. But then they'll move on to this. And when they have their first one, I usually get a text message. Oh, amazing. And my heart's just like, yay, she came.
That's amazing. Back in the day.
Yeah. Okay, what day? All, what year are we talking
about? Bring these back. Do you remember the Fantasia parties and stuff?
Oh, in England they have a thing called Anne Summers. That's where this is from.
Oh, okay.
And that little lingerie outfit I have. See, it's kind of got, look at it.
I saw. I love that. Yeah.
They have a thing called Anne Summers, and they have the shops, and then you can be a party girl. Of course I was.
Were you?
Yeah, I was.
You'd be good at that. You and I together would be so good at that.
We'd be amazing at it.
We'd be so good at it.
But I hated it.
So I went to a lot of those parties, the Fantasia style parties and whatnot.
Okay.
And so I went to ones that are really standing out in my mind, because it was kind of the same group of people. You know how that works. You go to these like pyramid scheme parties, and then you get sucked into hosting your own party. So a lot of times it's the same bitches going to the same parties. So both of these parties, the men also came to the parties, but they went down into the basement, or in the other house they like went outside and stuff like that, and the girls did the party, and then the guys were just hanging out and talking.
Okay.
And so we went to that first one, and then the second one, two of the girls were talking, and they both of them, so having totally separate experiences, and they were talking about that their husbands didn't want them to get any dildos or anything like that, because they said, why do you need it? Like, what, like, I
have the cock.
Yeah. Like, and they felt inadequate. I felt really bad for the women's response to it. I get it. They had like a knee-jerk reaction, like, excuse me, like, in their minds, they're like, we're going to bring this in. It's going to be fun. Like, you know what I mean?
And we're trying to explore and do something different.
But they shit on their husbands for it, and had no care whatsoever for them having could you imagine how brave you would have to be to say that out loud? Like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. You feel like you need that.
Yeah.
And like, instead of like going to a place and discussing that with them and being like, oh my God, no. And if you feel that way, no problem or whatever, right? And then you can slowly work it in if they feel comfortable. But I was really turned off by their response to that, because again, we're always trying to get men to like express themselves. And then when they do, we're like, meh, 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 meh. Like, I felt really, really bad for them. So of course I kind of like was like, well, like I couldn't help but put my 2 cents in, because I felt like deep sadness for these men who are downstairs in the basement
drinking beer.
I'm thinking like,
I think my wife, what if she gets a bigger one than mine? I would say if you could have made a deal, man, and say you can buy it, just it can't be bigger than my cock.
Yeah.
Simple as that. See, it's all about compromise and communication.
Yeah.
Right?
But the women were in the wrong, and they shut that right down.
I know they did. That wasn't very nice.
So I do think that if that's something, if men associate it with their inadequacies, or if women, like, but I think we're talking about men right now, because a lot of this stuff is penis shaped. But I think that my God, do you ever need to have a good conversation about that? Like, really gauge your partner and how they're feeling about this kind of stuff, because the last thing you want to do is try to implement something fun and new into a relationship, especially an intimate relationship, and have it be detrimental to their like self-confidence and self-worth. So that actually kind of leads into the areas of concern. Maybe we'll have that over here. Areas of concern. Producer daughter, make it happen. Okay, I'm going to read this from my phone because I was horrified. Okay, so we do have a Canadian stat here. So
one
stat, and it's depressing and awful, and everyone should know this. Okay, I didn't know this. Crystal didn't know this. This is vile and awful. Okay, in North America, adult toys are not, I'll repeat, not regulated.
No regulation.
No regulation.
None.
That's terrifying.
That's
because
disgusting.
If you consider like the rubbers and synthetic materials that all of this stuff is made from.
Exactly.
And the private areas and sensitive areas that it goes into is really, really terrifying. So like not having regulated products that go inside of our bodies is kind of fucking terrifying.
So do your research.
Yes.
Literally, that's that. And who's making it? Because ethically, you know what's going on with your clothes. It's the same shit as with your sex, your good time lover toys. Good time lover toys.
So now we're gonna walk into some major cons of adult toys.
Do you know I got rid of all of my toys?
I'm a bad influence.
She is. Her and her husband.
But to be fair, I didn't know this was a history of yours. Are you going to share this with everyone?
I will share.
Okay.
So because I have a background of coping mechanisms, which I've revealed to everybody of my sobriety, you find new things to cope with. And my energy's always been sexual, number one, since I was very, very young. So for me, I had to take a break. And my first partner...
But why did you have to take a break?
Well, I get it. I desensitized.
Okay.
So the first lady that I was with, my first true love, was a woman, and she bought me a massage gun for her one and me one.
Like actual massage gun or massage gun?
No, an actual massage gun. But she said they're the best because they have way more power than these stupid things. Oh, shit. And they do. So she told me maybe 2-3 years later, she's like, do you want to know something, Crystal? I said, yeah, tell me. She's like, that actual massager that you're using is actually the original one of mine, but I used it so much that the power, the energy was so low. She's like, I stole yours because the power was higher.
My God.
I was like, babe, I'm like, that's naughty, but what do I didn't care. She just used it a lot. So she fully desensitized, and that's why for me, I could get off on this. I can get off about 20 times a day.
Right.
Easy.
Right.
Easy peasy.
Okay.
So and it's just like, I can like, get off. And then it's like gets into a mood where I'm like, if I don't, then I get a little bit grumpy. puppy.
Yeah.
So I've had to really moderate. Once
Yeah.
I got the gift, I didn't use it right away because I was like, oh.
You're nervous?
Wait, yeah. I was like, what if I
Yeah.
get back to my old ways of
Right.
perversion?
Okay, so
Yes, so the
this is
addiction
like
part. That's the only thing.
when
like,
I was looking it up, they were like, okay, technically there's no such thing as being addicted, and then you were like, no, that's
I
not
call
true.
bullshit on that.
Yeah.
I really do call bullshit on that
Yeah.
one. It's definitely a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's
But
like it's the same thing as having a sex addiction. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're getting off on that high. It's like, and if you can,
Well,
you know,
that's the kind of like the troubling thing when I was looking at the stats, was kind of cool that like 78% of Americans and I'm assuming North Americans own adult toys.
yes.
The kind of part that I was like, oh, and again, it's not from judgment. It's just kind of like, it seems like there's some kind of like writing on the wall with this, and that's 39% of those that use it. So that's really, really close to half would rather use it alone than with their partner. I feel like we can, not that we're gonna like overly try in this like show, but I feel like we can draw some parallels to men and their porn addiction and how they just love themselves, and then like intimacy with like a woman becomes really, really complicated because you're not getting that same feeling. And then I think with women, you can draw the parallel of women and their vibrators, you know, and then becoming really desensitized. Because when we say that, we're actually not just like bullshitting. That's
It's a real thing.
real thing.
It is,
and not just that.
real.
It like the neurological
Yeah.
pathways that are created that tell us like, oh, when you eat ice cream, it's pleasurable. That's when we see a picture of ice cream, we're like, oh, I want ice cream, right? So if you're telling your body, oh, I only feel pleasure from this sex like robot that goes right?
Yeah.
Having like some man do his damnedest to get you off like that. Like, he doesn't have a robot.
Oh, poor guys.
Oh my god.
They can try.
I'm spiritually prepared for that.
they can try, I guess. Like, poor guys. Poor all of us, because I don't want to be fucked like the porn. I'm sorry, I don't want sex like that. I really don't. When I see porn sex, I'm like, I don't want that sex ever. Like,
and then also too,
ever.
like you said, you don't want poor guys to have to be like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, like, and
I got Gatorade.
it's too much.
No.
It's too much.
Yes.
So the disadvantage of sex toys is that, but everything comes back again to balance.
Yes.
Right? Having the balance, because that's kind of sad. It is sad. What do you think that number is of women that want to right? Because so we've got women, men, and then we have our other LGBTQ community, right? So out of that 37% or 39%. What do you think that is for women?
I think it's really high.
I think so too.
I think it's really, really high. But I do think that we can draw parallels to pornography, because if you were to say like, do the same question, okay, how many take 100 people and be like, how many of you, like it's mixed men and women, how many of you watch pornography? Definitely more men are gonna, like, women will be like, well, kind of, I guess, right? More men will be like, oh yeah, definitely me. But then if you say, do you like to watch that with your partner more, or do you like to watch it by yourself? The number would be even more pathetic.
Yeah, men would be like,
they'd be like,
I don't
want
to watch
85% of guys.
That's my shame time.
Yeah. Oh, and then I told you that
vibrators.
statistic, or not statistic, but this like interesting fact that recently in the last 2 years, outside of anal play, one of the most popular adult toys being manufactured is clitoris suction toys.
So what is it like? Like,
yes, there's even a little tongue that does that. And it was funny right when I first saw it, because I got this like one of these funny meme accounts that I follow gets like they do promos, right? Yeah. And one of them was those toys, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like,
you're like, do I want to add this to my collection?
For pure novelty's sake, because I was like, I can't even sit on a bicycle for 10 minutes without like being like, ow, my clitoris hurts.
Same with
I
me.
couldn't have something like and like sucking it and stuff. Holy shit, I don't know. And then finally the thing that really I want to talk about the most.
Yes.
Because honestly, I understand that my life does not fit this and I do not want to invest in this, okay? But I still have a humble dream of one day owning an adult like toy store.
You're going to.
Because I feel like they're so gross. I've been and you too. Like, I mean, you've traveled way more than me. Yeah. You go into these stores. I have 2 points that I would like to make about this. One, you go in and you're like, this is so... It's never in a place where you feel like I want to stay here for a long time.
It's not sensual.
No, like, you know, you go into Victoria's Secret and you're like, I don't know, I just want to kind of be here for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, it's like dark. The girls that work there are pretty in their blazers. It smells nice. Yeah, it feels cozy. Yeah. And I know I'm just using Victoria's Secret because it is actually my favorite store to go into because I feel like I could just be there for so long. The neon lights don't exist. It's all these nice like studio lights. Yeah. And then you go into these adult stores and you're like, oh my God, this is like not a warehouse, but it feels kind of incomplete. No, it feels like
looks like a warehouse.
Yeah. So my number one gripe is I don't feel comfortable, and as funny and fun as they can be, it would be even better if it was a place where I felt like comfortable and like I'm not like feeling ugly under neon lights and shit. And then the second thing is, oh my God, the packaging and models that they use for these things, not only are they disgusting male gazy, okay? It's like old school. The boob jobs before they put it under the muscle tissue, if they're all of those like just giant round balloons on these poor, like these ladies that look like Russian models from like the 1980s and guys who look like roid heads, you know? And all of them are white. There's no diversity on this packaging whatsoever. Like, same as like those cheap lingerie outfits, all of that shit. It's literally just like 1980s looking, even though they're still manufacturing these things today. All of the pictures, they're so stupid and laughable. When I see them, I'm like, oh my God, I don't like the packaging that came with this rope. Absolutely ridiculous. It was like this blonde girl tied up, like beyond airbrushed, like borderline animation. She's like cupping her boob, and like the guy's like this like white all-American looking guy like staring at the camera, tying her up. I was like, oh, for God's sakes, like who invents these? But it would be nice to see real looking human beings
and different cultures, different races. I'm sorry, but like we all buy them. Like, why is it just...
Why is it literally just like blonde white girls and like all-American roid-looking white guys on these packaging? And it's all so corny. None of it looks sexy. So I feel like as much as I absolutely love going to adults like toy stores, I do find that a lot of the reason why I get a kick out of going is because it's so stupid. So much of it I'm like... That's kind of my gripe, is that I wish that sex stores were, and I certainly don't want to say the word classy or anything like that. I just mean I wish that they were more modernized.
Effort into it. That's it. Have like it's not class. It's an ambiance.
I think that, to summarize, I think that adult toys, good loving toys, are, they 100% have their place. They're so fun. They're so silly. Sexy. They help you explore. Yes. But there's also things, like we said, you've got to really know, where are they coming from? Are they going to be a leaky battery and now your vagina's ruined?
Or your arsehole's ruined. Since like everybody's into this good time anal play.
Are you going to make sure that you and your partner communicate and agree on what you're going to use?
And talk to the kids. Don't put the shame towards them as well, right? Like whatever. Like it's not even, I don't even want to use the word to normalize. I don't like those words. I don't like that wording, but it's like, it's there. So why not make sure you have healthy conversations with them?
Yeah, totally agree. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed our conversation on adult toys, and we love you guys. Thank you so much. We don't have an outro or an intro. This is how we roll. We just awkwardly talk until we feel like we shouldn't talk anymore. Okay, we're going to go now. Bye.